Hello children, welcome to my class. I am Suma, Economics Lecturer of Gopalswamy PU College, Mysuru. In continuation with the second lesson, Theory of Consumer Behavior, today we are going to learn about the elasticity of demand. In our previous lesson, we learnt about the demand analysis. Now, we are going to learn about the elasticity of demand. So, before we move towards the concept of elasticity of demand, let's have a look about the types of goods that are available in the market. So, the first one is normal goods, that is the goods of which demand increases with the income of consumers, and it is vice versa. When the income of the consumer is less, demand is also less. When the income of the consumer is more, the demand is also more. It applies to almost all the consumable goods. The second type is inferior goods, that is of the good. These are the goods of which demand decreases with the fall in price and also with the rise in the income of consumers, because as you all know, in the market there are lots of options to the consumer to select the goods and to satisfy the need. So, the demand decreases with the fall in price. If the price of the goods falls, the demand also decreases, and if the income of the consumer rises, the demand again decreases. These kinds of goods are called as given goods, because the other goods the cost of other goods are high, we have purchased this. When the other goods are available at the rate a consumer can spend, then we are not going to buy this. So, we can easily give the examples of substitutes for this. The third one is substitute goods, that is these are the alternative products which can be used easily in place of another to satisfy our demand. That is, for example, coffee for tea. If I have to drink something to come out of the headache, I can go for either tea or coffee, whatever is available at that place and at that particular point of time. The fourth one is complementary goods. All of us have come across these goods. These are the goods which are consumed together to satisfy our wants. For example, vehicle and petrol. Just mere having a vehicle is of no use, or just mere having petrol is also of no use. We need to have both vehicle and petrol. They are complementary to each other. One more example is bat and ball. Just keeping bat, we cannot play cricket, or just keeping ball, we cannot play cricket. We need both. For example, you can go for a few more examples, bread and butter, like that. Okay. So, these are the four types of goods, the demand for which varies. The variation of demand is due to various factors. The various factors that affect the demand for goods are the operation of the law of diminishing marginal utility. In our cardinal approach, we know that there is a concept called as diminishing marginal utility, wherein if the consumer consumes more of the same goods, the utility that is derived out of that product, out of that consumption, goes on diminishing. The second one is operation of the law of equimarginal utility. The third one, income effect. The income of the consumers have direct effect on the demand for a product. If the income increases, the demand also increases. If the income decreases, the demand also decreases. The next one is substitution effect. The demand for a product varies according to the availability of the substitute products. If the same product, the utility derived out of the same product is derived from one more product which is a substitute to that other one, we can easily go for that. The next one is price effect. If the price of a product goes on increasing, naturally the consumer will not buy it, because he will go for substitutes, or even he may postpone his demand, postpone his need. He may satisfy that demand only when the price of the good becomes less. So, these are the 5 causes which determine the variation in the demand for a product. So, now let us see about the demand curve and how does these demand curve vary according to the increase and decrease in the income of the consumers, and this decides the elasticity of demand. You know, elasticity is nothing but expansion and contraction of the demand, and now let us learn about it through the help of a curve. This is the demand curve. Before we move towards the demand curve, let us see the demand schedule. The price of the product goes on increasing and the quantity demanded by an individual consumer also goes on decreasing. This has an inverse relationship. Price and demand, they have an inverse relationship. If the price of the product goes on increasing, naturally the quantity demanded goes on decreasing. If the price of tomato, for example, if it is rupees 3, the quantity demanded is 28. If it hikes for 4 rupees, then we buy only 24 kilo, and if it increases to 7 rupees, the quantity demanded becomes only 12 kilos. So, this is expressed in the form of a curve, that is the quantity demanded, the price of the product is rupees 3 and quantity demanded is 28. When the price of the product is 4, quantity demanded is 24, and when the price of the product is 5, quantity demanded is 20. When the price of the product is 16, quantity demanded is 16, and when the price of the product is 7, the 7 rupees per kilo, then the quantity demanded is 12. So, you know that always the demand curve slopes towards downwards because of the various effects, as I said, that is the operation of diminishing marginal utility, operation of law of equimarginal utility, income effect, substitution effect, and also the price effect. So, now let us see about the market demand schedule. Market demand schedule includes the demand schedules of individual consumers, because the demand for a product goes on varying according to the income of our consumers. So, when the income increases, the demand also increases, and when the income decreases, the demand also decreases. So, now let us see how this market demand equation is obtained. It is obtained by adding 2 individual demand equations. Now, let us see a problem. Let us solve a problem to know about the market demand equation. Children, let us look at this sum. If A's demand equation is QD equals 44 minus 4P and B's demand equation is also QD equals 44 minus 4P, by adding both of these equations, we get 88 minus 8P. Here QD and P, that is quantity demanded and price, both are constants. In the demand equation, 88 minus 8P that we have obtained through adding both A and B equations, if price becomes 0, what is the value of QD, quantity demanded? So, now let us see the solution. When the price is 0, quantity demanded in this equation is 88 minus 8P, that is 88 minus 8 multiplied by 0, because P is 0. So, 88 minus 0, because 8 multiplied by 0 is 0 only, 88 minus 0, so quantity demanded becomes 88 only. So, these are all the small problems that can be asked for you in the examination for 1 or 2 marks. Okay. So, we conclude this session here. In our next class, we will move towards the elasticity of demand and the types of the elasticity of demand. There are three types: price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand and cross elasticity of demand, that we will learn in our next session. Thank you children.